Hey, folks, unfortunately, I don't have my microphone on today. I look so fat without a beard. Anyways, it's High Spots and Cheap Pops. This is Silicon Steve Valli, and I want to thank all of you for joining us right now. We talk about last night's Royal Rumble. Let's do this. That's better. Let's do last night's Royal Rumble, folks. And I got to be honest with you. I actually thought it was a fairly decent pay-per-view. A lot of people are hating. The big news is Bobby Lashley has beaten Brock Lesnar for the World Championship, helped out by Roman Reigns, with Paul Heyman turning on Brock Lesnar and siding back with Roman Reigns, which I think everybody saw coming. And also, a lot of people were not surprised because Brock Lesnar wound up being the final entrant in the actual Royal Rumble itself a couple matches later, and he wins the 2022 Royal Rumble. So Brock Lesnar loses his title but wins the Royal Rumble, similar to what happened with Becky Lynch a couple years ago when she lost to Asuka and then she came back. This was a little bit better and different because it was caused by Roman, and now Brock, obviously, with anger and revenge on his mind, is going to go after Paul Heyman and Roman Reigns. So we're obviously getting Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar for the Universal title at WrestleMania, which I anticipate Mr. Reigns winning that one as well. That's what we got on. The other big news is Ronda Rousey returned. Again, everyone knew Ronda was going to be there. I think a lot less people thought Brock was going to come back and win the championship or the Royal Rumble. But Ronda Rousey does arrive back. She got a monster pop. She is still awkward and shitty in the ring. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to hate on her. I was actually excited to see her. But the reality is that Ronda Rousey 100% is not good in the ring. She went away and she did her family thing and did everything that she needed to do as a person, but she did not improve in the ring. She came in, and you know when somebody comes into like Bad Bunny, great example. Bad Bunny had a great spot in the Royal Rumble last night. He came in, and when he came in, there was electricity. There was energy. There was really nice moves. Ronda Rousey looked like shit. She didn't do one impressive thing in the ring last night. She never did anything impressive her first run. So I hate to say this, folks. If you are thinking Ronda Rousey's coming back and be in this great situation, this going to have this great run, I think it's going to be a couple weeks because she's so bad in the ring and she's not just a good natural professional wrestler. I think you're going to get to the point where we actually see Ronda Rousey getting booed once again, just like she did last year, because she's just not a good professional wrestler. Sorry. She's a big name and she's done so much for wrestling, and I appreciate her and 100. But at the end of the day, I am of the opinion Ronda Rousey just isn't a good pro wrestler, and she should never even be in it just because she's a name. Whereas Bad Bunny, the guy's already having spots and doing things that Ronda Rousey could never even dream of doing. So that's the difference. I think Ronda Rousey, they brought her back. The heart misses you. But at the end of the day, I think this is going to backfire, and she's not going to make it as a pro wrestler. I mean, she's going to make it. She's going to make plenty of money, and she's going to do the things that get attention, but she's not a good pro wrestler. She's never going to be good enough to be as good as they put her to be. And so she's going to inherently have some anger toward her by a lot of people in the professional wrestling world. She's not good. She was awkward. She's terrible. Did she learn how to cut a promo? I don't know. But Ronda Rousey's a shitty pro wrestler. It's just that simple. We saw it last night, and every time she tried to eliminate somebody, it was terrible. So I'm not excited about that. But the reaction before we get into the extra reviews, you guys over on the internet, oh my God, a majority of people thought this was a terrible and just an absolute brutal Royal Rumble. I don't know. I definitely don't agree with that. My expectations have been hampered, though. I knew Ronda Rousey was coming back and winning the Royal Rumble. I had an idea Brock Lesnar was going to be the guy that came back because there was no real big surprises they could throw at us, unless it was going to be AEW's Jon Moxley or Cody Rhodes, which anyone with a brain in their head knew wasn't happening, right? So I understand there's a lot of anger about that. Some other key points you want to look into tonight. Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins, they had a big thing. But let's get right into it. Let's get into the whole review. Those were the two big stories, though, that we were discussing and talking about. Of course, about my man, Bad Bunny. I can't stand Bad Bunny, but you got to give the guy credit. He shined. He, other than being a popular celebrity with really shitty music, the guy's done the work inside the ring, and hey, look, you can't complain about it because he actually put on a good show. But let's get into the Royal Rumble review. We lead it off with Seth frickin' Rollins and Roman Reigns, and I was wondering why this match led off, because I knew it was going to be the best match of the night. It was the match I was mostly looking forward to, and these guys didn't disappoint. The finish might be a little bit left to be desired, but in all, this was a great match, and let's get to it. The match opened up with Roman Reigns having a 25-minute intro. We know that. Came down by himself, though, folks. Nobody came in. Nobody interfered in this particular match as well. And when Roman came out, he was looking ready to go to it. And then, folks, my man Seth Rollins came out, and they hit the classic Shield intro, even with the SHIELD codes, military codes that they use in the beginning with all their names. And folks, my man Seth Rollins came out dressed in full riot gear, such as the Shield did, with the Shield's music coming through the crowd. It was the ultimate head game. The crowd loved it. Seth Rollins was actually probably a highlight of the night tonight. Got to be completely honest with you. And I'll tell you what, I was happy with this match, other than toward the end. Once they got going on, Rollins took advantage from getting Roman upset and had control, including 2 executed suicide dives in the beginning of the match. And he really did a great thing with putting the Shield entrance over, as we said. And it was already a fun highlight, which promised to be a historical Royal Rousey, as I said. I'm sorry, Royal Rumble. Seth countered Roman going for a clothesline, and he shield bombed Roman through the table. This was on the outside, on the announcer's table. Seth then hit a frog splash inside, and at the beginning of the match, Roman was in a lot of trouble. So you started thinking maybe Seth can actually pull this off. Again, Roman hasn't even been, I know he's been close to getting beat, but no one really had any realistic thinking that he was ever going to lose a title. This was the first match he's had since he's been world champ or universal champion, coming back as a heel, that I actually thought that he might lose it. But Seth maintained control. He missed his Phoenix Splash. He went for a Phoenix Splash later in the match. For like the 59th time, he's never hit I think he's hit 1 Phoenix Splash ever. And I think it was against John Cena ironically, Royal Rumble about 5 years ago. And then that was the one where Lesnar was out for half the match after Rollins put him through a table. And then Lesnar came back and then won the match. Reigns countered with a clothesline on a double down after Seth actually hit him with a stomp. He hit him with a buckle bomb, and he still couldn't get Roman beat. Roman kicked out on a 3 after the stomp. And Seth dominated this match, and he went up for another stomp to end Roman forever. But this time, Roman actually counters with a clothesline, and McAfee called it a clothesline from hell. Roman starts unloading, and the crowd seemingly strong behind Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins had a majority of the crowd. Roman hits a power bomb of his own, and crowd just not feeling it. Roman loses his calm, and Rollins locked in. And once Roman was getting mad and started to hit Seth and all that, Seth countered with a triangle, an actual triangle submission. Roman powered out into a powerbomb. Roman took control of the match outside like he clearly does, when he starts just beating the shit out of the guy. Not real great wrestling, but good methodical beating. And Roman was getting a lot of great heat during this. And he went to hit the Superman punch on Rollins. He did hit it, but Rollins kicked out at 2. Roman hits a spear now. After that, Rollins went to the outside. Roman hits a spear on the outside. And once Roman brings him back in for a second spear, Roman went for his final spear. And circa 2016 Royal and Money in the Bank, when Roman went for a spear then, Seth actually turned it into a pedigree. That's how he won the match. Seth does the same exact thing this time around, counters Roman's spear inside the ring with a pedigree. Only a 2 count this time, opposed to a 3 count. And this was a very intense spot. I think a lot of people actually thought, because it happened in 2016, I did not anticipate a 3 count here. Roman counters with a second spear, but Rollins actually, instead of covering Rollins, Roman was a little beat up. And when Roman recovered, he realized Seth was actually laughing at his spear. And Seth, in a comedic and great storytelling, the visuals of the facial expressions and the story these two dudes told, this was the match of the night right out of the gate. Again, usually when Roman Reigns is involved with WWE program, let's be honest, it's great. I mean, I think he's on the level of John Cena or Hulk Hogan or any of the legends from before. I don't think he's there yet, but he's only been this version for Roman for less than 2 years. I'm optimistic because he continues to get better and better. However, Roman trying to stay focused, but with Rollins continuing to agitate him in the center of the ring, Roman hits that guillotine chokehold on him, and Rollins clearly being cheered by the crowd. Rollins gets to the rope, but Roman says, "Fuck you! Fuck you! I'm not relinquishing this hold!" The referee counts 5. Roman doesn't relinquish. He DQs. Roman snapped. Roman gets disqualified, and this beautiful match completely fucked by a jerk-off disqualification ending that WWE has gotten so good at giving us. So good at ruining great championship matches. But it's okay because I realize I don't think it was time for Roman to get the title off of him. Maybe they want to have Roman face Seth again, I guess maybe at the Elimination Chamber. Who knows? Is Seth now going to be on SmackDown, though? I don't know. Anyways, after the match, Roman's disqualified. Seth is beaten down. Roman wants to take some more poetic justice out on Seth Rollins' ass. And as Seth Rollins was recovering in the ring in the exact same position Roman was in when Seth turned on the Shield, Seth was in the same exact position, kind of looking toward the ramp. He goes to the outside and from behind with a steel chair. The exact same motion, the exact same positioning. Everything was exactly the same. Roman, steel chair to the back to Seth Rollins to throw a little signification to the Shield breaking up back in 2015. And then Roman absolutely decimates Rollins with the chair going out, and he looked proud of himself. But that was not the last time we're going to see Roman for the rest of the night. But your winner is Seth Rollins. But still, your tribal chief and your universal champion, Roman Reigns. Great. And by the way, something to remember, Roman still can't beat Rollins. Still can't beat Rollins in a big spot. And Roman, in a beautiful nod to the famed breakup of the Shield, it was really nice. I thought this was great television. But Roman Sucks chants started happening in the first 2 years, and in 2 years, because he was getting booed, but there wasn't a lot of Roman Sucks chants. Roman Sucks chants was when he was a baby face and they were pushing him to the moon. And despite the fact nobody could give a shit about Roman Reigns, main event, main event, main event. Now that he is the shit, it was kind of cool to see a little harken back of Roman kind of getting those insecure feelings again with people chanting boo. It was a good moment. Usually the WWE crowd doesn't play a big role in their shows opposed to other companies. This time they did, and Roman did a great job playing with that. Roman and Seth, you guys knocked it out of the park. You really got the event to a good thing. Of course, the DQ finish is always going to leave a bad taste in people's mouths on a pay-per-view championship event. That's why most companies don't do it. But WWE has always felt like they're infallible and they can do whatever the hell they want. DQ finishes on a pay-per-view for a major championship is something that I don't really care for. But I let it go this time a little bit because I understand where they're trying to go. All right, it was time for the Women's Royal Rumble. And this was actually the better of the 2 Royal Rumbles that happened. And all comebacks got a nice pop. Mickie James did come out wearing the Impact title with her hardcore country theme song. Alicia Fox is still adorable. Ivory came out with the right to censor gimmick. She set the world on fire. She was eliminated relatively quickly and very gingerly by Rhea Ripley. Nikki Ash continued her antagonism of her former champion, Rhea Ripley. And not for nothing, if you look at Nikki Ash's little sidebar, you look at Nikki Ash's career. She's a former Raw Women's Champion, and she's already a 2-time tag team champion. She's had a much more successful career than, say, a person like Liv Morgan or Zelina Vega. I mean, Nikki Ash has had a really incredibly successful career compared to a lot of her contemporaries. But anyways, the Legend of Summer Rae looked better than she ever did as she made her way into the ring, except Charlotte clotheslined her to a monster pop. Guess the crowd didn't buy into that whole legend status. Summer Rae really got no love from the crowd. She was eliminated then by Natty, which she had some kind of weird rivalry on Twitter about. Sarah Logan! She was another big surprise, number 25. Because we all know the only really big surprise is going to be Ronda Rousey, and everyone knew she was coming, so it wasn't much of a surprise. And half the world hates Ronda Rousey in a wrestling ring. Anyways, Sarah Logan came out. She looked great after having a baby. A lot of moms in the ring at that point in time, which I wanted to make a comment of. And Sarah Logan and Liv Morgan, the same exact thing that happened with the Iconics last year. There was this moment where these two tag team partners or two friends could get this nice, beautiful little moment in the Royal Rumble to hug. And then WWE said, fuck you, you don't get that. Fuck you, the fans don't get that. Same exact thing they did with the Iconics last year. Why? It's like, fuck you, fan. It's literally a fuck you to the fans. It's sort of like, we're going to tease something, a really cute little moment, which doesn't really mean anything. This moment means nothing. Liv Morgan's not going anywhere any fast. She would have been there by now, she was. And Sarah Logan's not even in the company anymore. So why stop them from hugging it out and having that moment? And why did you stop the Iconics last year? It's just little things like that that make you think that WWE gives a shit about you. Anyway, it was all for naught because Sarah Logan and Liv Morgan were about to hug, and then the Bellas of all people came from behind and eliminated Liv Morgan, and they have eliminated Logan as well. The Bellas, those young upstart Bellas who were so great at professional wrestling when they were doing it, they weren't just eye candy. They eliminate one of your young stars. Great. I'm actually starting to get mad now. I'm reviewing this again. I wasn't that mad last night. Now I'm angry again. So much for the Impact getting a big push as Lita comes out, number 26, and quickly eliminates Mickie James. She was not one of the final 4 or final 5. I think she was final 8 or 9. So anyone who thought that she was going to get the real big push and Impact was going to get a real big spot, you were stupid. And I thought you were stupid when you said it. Now it's proven. So, at number 27, Molly Holly reviving her Mighty Molly gimmick to a very nice pop. However, Nikki Ash does not play well with other superheroes. Nikki attacked Molly on the way to the ring, beat her up, and then eliminated said Molly Holly. Molly Holly looks fucking amazing, by the way. She doesn't look like she aged a bit. She doesn't have $30,000 or $5 million of plastic surgery on, which was very, very good to see in this stage of the Royal Rumble if you looked at the participants. A lot of plastic surgery in that ring at that point in time. You had Charlotte, Lita. Dana Brooke wasn't. Did I see Dana Brooke? I didn't watch the first half. Maybe Dana Brooke was in and eliminated quickly. But you also had Natalya. You had the Bellas. I mean, it was the amount. I think there was one point there was 9 women in the ring. 6 of them clearly had tons of plastic surgery and 3 didn't. That's where we were at. Bianca Belair was still in there, though, folks. So you were hanging on to a possibility of Bianca still, after that bullshit 26-second friggin' match back at SummerSlam, you thought she was going to get this? No. And you probably knew that because you knew that Ronda Rousey was going to be coming in. And that's exactly what happened. Rowdy Ronda Rousey, the big surprise. And once you knew she was in, you knew she was winning this. There was no suspense whatsoever. She comes in to a nice pop. Not as big as I think a lot of people would expect. I don't think she's as beloved as you would have thought. And she's still very awkward in the ring, as I mentioned before. Every piece of momentum she had walking down, looking like a badass walking down to that ring, she lost it because she doesn't know how to wrestle. And she threw people out of the ring in a very weird way. It was terrible, awkward, and shit. I am already on the Ronda Rousey sucks as a pro wrestler vibe, and I'm sorry. I know I'm going to get a lot of heat for that, but she was just awkward, no energy. It sucked. Anyways, so whatever momentum she had was lost by doing nothing impressive as soon as she got in the ring. Shayna Baszler rounds it out at number 30, and the friendship between Rousey and her and Baszler were mentioned briefly, but they never really worked together. Ronda eliminates Shotzi very unimpressively. Then she tried eliminating Natalya, but Bianca did that as well. Charlotte eliminated Lita. Rhea tried to eliminate Ronda, but Charlotte came from behind and sent Ronda into the post shoulder. And then Flair eliminated Rhea Ripley. So our last four left, we have Bianca, Shayna, Charlotte, and Ronda Rousey. Bianca and Shayna start working on each other. And what's the best way to get rid of those two assholes? Those two. Bianca sucks. Right? Shayna Baszler sucks. Let's get Ronda Rousey and Charlotte in the ring. The wet dream Vince wanted so bad until Becky Lynch phenomena started. We wanted Charlotte. We need Charlotte. And we need Ronda Rousey. We need Charlotte. Nobody wants Charlotte and Ronda Rousey. Nobody. Everybody wants Charlotte and Becky. Everybody wants Ronda Rousey and Becky. They wanted Ronda Rousey, Becky years ago. You still got Charlotte involved. And here you have a spot where Becky's actually a heel. She's the one that Ronda should be going after. And she still might. But now you're teasing going after Charlotte. They're going to fuck this up again. Anyways, Charlotte eliminates Bianca and and Shayna Baszler, the two young upstarts. And the two of the three women who headlined WrestleMania for the first time, I think 4 years ago now, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, were left in there. And in a very unimpressive exchange, Ronda Rousey eliminates Charlotte and she points real nice at the WrestleMania sign once again. And folks, we're going to get Ronda Rousey event at WrestleMania. Okay. Because the last one went so great. Remember the finish? Everything she does in the ring in terms of physicality is awkward and terrible. And she's going to be on our TVs. I'm already anti-Ronda Rousey, and I don't give a shit what anyone knows. And by the way, nothing to her as a person. I like her as a person. I like she's a badass. She's a tough-ass lady. And her even trying to become a professional wrestler full-time was really a gutsy move. So I appreciate it, but she just sucks. She's not good. You remember when Kurt Angle? By the way, and I get annoyed and I resent the fact there's this big machine behind her because people were saying when she first started, oh, she's taking to it just as well as Kurt Angle did. No, she hasn't. She's terrible. She was awkward. Unless you can show me something more that I didn't see in the match last night, Ronda Rousey hasn't improved. In fact, I'd say she's even worse. It's hard to gauge somebody in a Royal Rumble, but she didn't do anything that moved the needle at all from a physical standpoint. Doudrop and Becky went at it. I'm not going to go through a full-blown review. Bottom line is Becky Lynch, to nobody's surprise, wins. Doudrop was going for her finisher at the end. And Becky reversed it. She jumped on top, and while she was on the second turn, turned it into a manhandle slam. I thought she's not the man anymore. But anyway, manhandle slam, even though she only does it to women. If she's not called the manhandle slam makes no fucking sense to call it that. But that's all right. She beats Doudrop. Nothing surprised there. And still world champion Becky Lynch. WWE World Championship, Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar. We're going to skip to the end. This was a very good match for the most part. There was a buzz. It felt like a big fight. And Brock Lesnar and Bobby Lashley traded a few Germans together and all that. Eventually, Lesnar took control of the match. They went back and forth a few times, traded some big spots. It was actually a decent match. It wasn't the best match ever, but it was a good match. Two big Goliaths going at it, just blow for blow. There were no candy shots taken. It was all German suplexes, big hard punches or strikes and finishers. That's pretty much all it was. There wasn't a lot of psychology to this match, but the ending is what mattered. Toward the end of the match, Brock Lesnar, the referee downing the referee in this one wasn't very good. No, it was just awkward. I use that word a lot lately. Ronda Rousey comes in, and I used the word awkward, and now I have to use it here too. They run into the referee somehow. Referee goes down in the corner, and Brock goes for F5. The referee makes his way slowly but surely back up, and as Brock went for the F5, the referee hit Bobby Lashley's feet, hit the referee, and that knocked him out. That little turn knocked him the fuck out. Anyways, I guess because Lesnar spun around so hard. Anyways, as Lesnar has the 3 count on Lashley, 1, 2, 3, the referee is down. Your tribal chief makes his way back to the ring, and he spears Brock Lesnar, but that's not enough. This is the big part of the night. Roman then stares at Paul Heyman. Paul Heyman's clutching the world championship. And the emotion and the facial expressions, everything that Paul Heyman and Roman Reigns has done the last 2 years has been amazing. And this is nothing short of that. Roman asks for the title belt from Paul Heyman. Brock Lesnar's title belt Paul Heyman gladly gives it to Roman. Roman takes that championship belt and drills Brock Lesnar right in the head with it. He walks out. Paul Heyman walks out with him looking proud at what he has done, turning on Brock Lesnar. He is now a special counsel for the tribal chief and Roman Reigns. And Bobby Lashley, I would have liked to see Bobby hit one of his finishers here, opposed to just cover him. But Bobby covers Lesnar for the 1, 2, 3. And Bobby Lashley beats the Beast and becomes your, is that two-time now? Two-time WWE World Champion. And Brock Lesnar is pissed off. But he's hurt. He walks out. And that's where we're at with that. So that sets up, obviously it sets up Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania. They are going to be the first duo to do that since Stone Cold and The Rock. But those matches weren't as good as Stone Cold and The Rock's were they? I remember one really boring match that had nothing going on until Seth Rollins cashed in his Money in the Bank. And then I remember another title match at WrestleMania with these two that the fans chanted boring throughout the main event. WWE's not going to push the fact they've main evented it 3 times because it's a shitty 3 main events overall. This is the best one in terms of storyline and everything. But let's not put them on the pedestal of Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin. They're just not. Come on, guys. Roman Reigns really hasn't started to be a premier professional wrestler, all-time type talent until about 1.5 years ago. The first 5 years, he was just pushed down our throat. And he was really the poster boy of why WWE was proof that they didn't give a shit about their fans. So, such an evolution. So I'm not too angry about Brock and Roman. It's been a great story. It deserves a main event at WrestleMania level type main event. But at the end of the day, the first 2 really takes a little bit of the excitement away from this one. Sorry. It versus Grit Cumper. It versus Grit equals shit. Actually, folks, this was actually a much better match than I anticipated. The first couple minutes of the match, it was kind of a typical mixed match. People getting whatever, goofy little heel and babyface moves, whatever. But toward the end, it was really good. Maurice had a couple of really great spots. It actually made you believable that she can actually be a professional wrestler. Great job by Maurice. However, at the end of the day, the Grit couple got the victory, both hitting the Glamazon Slam to get the victory in radio. So Edge actually used his wife's on the Miz's. They get a 1, 2, 3. And then we go to the Men's Royal Rumble, the big one. The person who will main event. They're not main event in WrestleMania. No one that's called for is going to main event WrestleMania with this group. There better be some big surprises. I heard Mox and Cody were going to be there. Is that something I heard? Is that what I heard from WWE fans? Well, Mox and Cody did not show up, for those of you expecting that. And my man AJ Styles drew number 1, and drawing number 2 is Shinsuke Nakamura. And me being a New Japan Pro Wrestling fan, I like to see this. I mean, what can you do in a minute, though, in a Royal Rumble? Nothing big there. We skipped through Johnny Knoxville, had a couple of nice moments. He wound up eventually getting eliminated. As of, we carried to number 19, and nothing or nobody of any note introduced or eliminated other than maybe Sami Zayn and Johnny Knoxville. Nobody that you thought was going to win the Royal Rumble has been in the match or has been eliminated yet. That's the truth. So the first 19 or 20, and number 19, by the way, was Madcap Moss, I think. So the first, I would say, 30 minutes of the Royal Rumble was a complete fucking waste of time. Anyways, as of number 19, nothing or nobody, as I said, was of any note was introduced or eliminated. And also, Madcap Moss and Happy Corbin just got in the ring at the same time. And we love that dumpster fire comedy act, whatever the fuck that is. It's the worst thing on WWE programming. I mean, Baron Corbin's been consistently one of the worst things in professional wrestling for 6 years. Why stop it now, right? And the aforementioned comedy dumpster fire, well, they eliminated AJ Styles. Great. So that should make all the people who want AJ Styles really happy to see those two clowns eliminated. Number 20, Matt Riddle gets a really nice pop, and Rick Boogs comes in, and he eliminates the comedy dumpster fire of Madcap Moss and Baron Corbin as well. So Rick Boogs' stock is really rising if we didn't know that already. And here it comes, folks. Number 21, the first of the two big surprises, Drew McIntyre. The reports of his demise were exaggerated. And Drew is back, but a lot of momentum is lost. And he didn't even eliminate Happy Corbin. I don't know. It just makes me sad. Rick Boogs was eliminated, by the way. I made a mistake. Rick Boogs was eliminated by the CDF, which is the comedy dumpster fire. I misspoke. They eliminated Rick Boogs, not the other way around. I'm sorry. Because obviously McIntyre needs to eliminate the Happy Fellows. He extracts his revenge, eliminates both men. Kevin Owens is number 22, and he fights McIntyre as McIntyre beat the living shit out of Madcap Moss and Baron Corbin on the outside of the ring after they eliminated him to extract some more revenge. And Kevin Owens, it was next, and he fought Drew on the outside until they fought back into the ring. Kofi Kingston. Remember good old Kofi. Don't we love Kofi? Kofi Kingston, number 24. He comes back in, and he went for one of his wild acrobatic elimination saves after Owens threw him off the top rope. This time it was not to come to pass. I don't know what he was going for, but he landed on the guardrail with his legs hitting the floor, and then he tried to coop his legs up, and it was really bad. So, hey, he's given us a lot of memories. I'll give Kofi a pass on that. It was a stunt gone wrong. Kofi eliminated. Bad Bunny, number 26. And, folks, Bad Bunny was good. Hitting Hurricanranas, DDTs, top rope wonders. I mean, the guy actually can wrestle. Let's be honest. I'm not going to disrespect. I hate celebrity. I really do hate celebrity guest spots. But Bad Bunny has clearly put in the work to be a WWE, to be a professional wrestler. So I give him respect, tip of the hat, as much as I think his music is dog shit. I hate to say it. He did really well. Rey Mysterio was then eliminated by Otis. And another surprise, which we all knew was coming back. We heard all over the internet about it. Shane McMahon, number 27, to a nice pop, but not that good of a pop. He quickly eliminates Kevin Owens. Shane McMahon and Bad Bunny have dominated. At this point in time, I think Shane McMahon and Bad Bunny eliminated like 4 or 5 people in a row at that point in time in the match. Shane McMahon and Bad Bunny dominating the Royal Rumble in the later stages. Randy Orton, he is called down, number 29. And if he wins, they mentioned he and Stone Cold will be the only 2 superstars ever to have 3 Royal Rumble victories. He quickly hits Big E with an RKO, and then he eliminates Big E. He's not Mid E. That means he's a mid-carder again. Wow. Talk about, hey, here's a championship. You're going to have a shitty run, and now you're going to be eliminated with 6 or 7 people left in the Royal Rumble. What they've done to Big E, after everything he's done and the passion and the work he has put into, is a disaster. It's bullshit. Absolute bullshit. He's done everything that has been asked. He's a great human being. And if this Royal Rumble performance by Big E, having him eliminated before getting down to 4 or 5 people, if you didn't think that they were discounting what his worth is, then I don't know what to tell you. But Big E is officially back to the mid-card, just as Kofi Kingston before him. Tell me I'm wrong. You can't. Anyways. Then Randy Orton eliminates Otis. So Randy Orton's coming out like a house of fire. And then, folks, it's time for number 30. The big surprise that most of you picked before the match. Most of you picked Roman, or 50% of you out of a group of 4, 50% of you on our poll on Twitter actually said that Roman or Brock were going to win the Royal Rumble, despite the fact they both had matches. That's how predictable WWE has come, apparently. 50% people thought that it was going to be one of the 2 to win the Royal Rumble. And guess what, folks? Number 30 is Brock Lesnar. Obviously pissed off. He looks like he's not fucking around here. Lesnar comes in, F5's Bad Bunny, eliminates both members of RK Pro, eliminates Bad Bunny, and then left we have Shane, Brock, and Drew. Why is Shane there? Well, he wasn't there long. Shane got eliminated by Drew McIntyre very quickly. They had a little bit of a beef, I think, McIntyre and Drew. And so we have Brock and Drew, kind of a rematch of what happened a couple years ago with Brock and Drew after Brock eliminated everybody that could come into the ring. Well, Drew McIntyre came in, then it was one-on-one. Same exact thing. This time, Brock is the one who goes over. The two go at it for a second, but Brock Lesnar F5s McIntyre out of the ring, hooks him up and just throws him out. And I'm sure he's going to pick Bobby Lashley for the main event at WrestleMania. Just kidding, folks. Your Royal Rumble winner is Brock Lesnar, and he clearly has a bone to pick with Roman Reigns, who cost him his title earlier in the night. And Lesnar even did the stupid pointing at the sign thing. Is Brock Lesnar really pointing at the sign? You could tell he didn't want to do it. He was like... So once again, Brock Lesnar wins a monster match he wasn't even scheduled to be in, just like he did in the Money in the Bank a couple of years back. So that's all we got. Folks, I originally gave this event 7 out of 10, but I just reviewed it again live right in front for all of you to see. And I got to be honest with you. I don't know. It's a 6 out of 10 because just some of the repetitive stuff. And this is one thing I want people to understand. Here's one of the things about me is that I have very low expectations for the WWE product. I knew Brock Lesnar was going to win the Royal Rumble tonight. I had a good idea anyway. I knew Ronda Rousey was going to win it tonight. The only questions I had was which one between Brock and Roman, which one was going to lose their title. My partner, the Impaler, actually thought it was going to be Roman doing exactly what Brock did. And I mentioned that I thought Drew was coming back, so I thought he could win. And it didn't occur to me that they would. I did bring it up on our show, but I should have pulled the trigger and said Brock Lesnar. Because Brock Lesnar is the babyface. My partner, Vladi Dottie, he actually came out and he had mentioned that Roman was going to lose his title because Brock interferes, and Roman was going. And I was like, well, that doesn't make sense because he's the heel and Brock's the babyface. It would make more sense if we do it the other way around. I didn't pull a trigger on it, but rumors started to persist throughout the weekend. And look, I think everyone saw the finishes coming. And once people knew Ronda Rousey was going to be at Royal Rumble, the only way they could have done it differently is maybe what I would have personally done, folks. This is exactly what I would have done. I would have had Bianca or somebody else like that win the Royal Rumble, and I would have had Ronda interfere with Becky Lynch. Now here's the thing. You back yourself into a corner here. You are promising people, or a lot of people who are WWE fans and people known for WWE, they're saying that for us to have patience because Bianca Belair lost her title in 26 seconds. We thought it was a disaster. She hasn't gotten an opportunity since. We were supposed to wait to WrestleMania to get this payoff. It was supposed to be the culmination of her journey back to Becky Lynch. And now you bring in Ronda Rousey, who can't wrestle, but she's a big star. Everyone wants to see Becky and Ronda. No one wants to see Charlotte and Ronda. So WWE backed themselves in a corner. Unless, Vince is hell-bent on Ronda Rousey, Charlotte Flair. Always has been. Despite having a phenomena throw a huge monkey wrench into that situation, and you had this organic, beautiful build, Ronda Rousey and Becky Lynch, a couple years back with Becky as the babyface and Ronda as the heel. You had that. It was perfect. It was money. But you had to have Charlotte Flair involved. You had to. And now you seemingly are bringing Ronda Rousey back to beef with Charlotte Flair. And she has to beef with Charlotte Flair, or you're leaving Bianca in the dust again, which flew in the face of everything you said. The 26-second bullshit win for Becky was the reasoning behind it, because Bianca will get her chance back. She never is going to get her chance back right now if you have Ronda Rousey going against Becky Lynch. And if you don't have Ronda Rousey going against Becky Lynch, people are going to be pissed off at that because Becky Lynch has had a bigger issue with Ronda than Charlotte. So WWE, with their booking last night, backed themselves into a corner that's going to go bad. And I'm calling it right now, folks. If you don't believe me, remember this. Within 1 month's time, people are going to be booing Ronda Rousey out of the fuck building unless they keep her out of a ring. If she wrestles, she gets booed. It's that simple. Because she can't. That's your Royal Rumble preview, that's your Royal Rumble review. This has been Silicon Steve Valli for High Spots and Cheap Pops. Again, the Cheap Pops not to be confused with douchebags from Texas. Thanks so much, folks. We love you. Have a good one and enjoy WrestleMania season.